Welcome to GroomersTake. We are going to continue to look at our preview matchups for the play-in series in the NHL. Right now we're looking at the Edmonton Oilers and the Chicago Blackhawks. Definitely my most intriguing series of the play-in. We've got Edmonton firepower here with Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl centering the top two lines respectively. Beside McDavid, you got Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who has looked fantastic this year, and a guy like Zach Cassian, who's maybe there to protect Connor McDavid, but he also does a really good job producing points. That's awesome for them. On the second line, beside Draisaitl, in the middle, you have Kyler Yamamoto called up halfway through this season and has looked great for them, alongside Tyler Ennis, maybe more of a grinder, small, offensive-minded guy, not so much defensively, but you put anybody beside Draisaitl, and you never know. Compared to some firepower the Chicago Blackhawks have, of course, you have Jonathan Toews in the middle of that front line alongside a returning Brendan Saad. Good player. These guys know each other well. And then you have Alex DeBrincat on the left side, a 40-goal scorer in my mind. They're going to look for that line to produce a lot. And then, of course, on the second line, you have Patrick Kane. You put anybody beside Patrick Kane and something can happen. And that's what they're hoping with Dylan Strome in the middle. Drafted high, moved around a bit. Hopefully he has a home now in Chicago. And you put him with Patrick Kane. He could produce. And then finishing out that second line, you have Alex Nylander on the left side. I know they were hoping that he could produce a bit more than what he has. But we'll see how that goes moving forward. I'm going to give the firepower category, of course, to the Edmonton Oilers because of Connor McDavid, the best player in the world in my mind, and Leon Draisaitl. Firepower category going to the Edmonton Oilers. Looking at the depth on forward in the bottom two lines of these teams, you have Anthony Sheehan and Archibald on the third line for the Edmonton Oilers. Anthony a good pickup for Edmonton at the deadline from Detroit. Very offensive-minded. Hopefully that minus 43, he doesn't bring that with him. I'm sure that will improve now that he is in Edmonton. On the fourth line, you have Neil, Kara, and Chiasson. Alex Chiasson, a really good pickup for them. He produces really well, and also he can play a pesty game. A pretty good bottom six there for Edmonton. Looking at Chicago Blackhawks depth in the bottom six, you have Kajula, Kirby Dach, and Kubali. Kirby Dach just entering the NHL. He's staying. It looks like he's found a pretty good fit on that third line right now, and over the years, I think he will get a lot more opportunity in the top six. Filling out the fourth line for the Chicago Blackhawks, you have Highmore. I haven't heard of him. You have Carpenter in the middle and Kampf on the right. Carpenter, of course, coming over from the Vegas Golden Knights. This is a pretty good fourth line. They're fast, they're pesty. But in the end, I'm giving the depth on forward to the Edmonton Oilers with guys like Anthony Sheehan, Chiasson, and Neil. I think that is a great fit for the Edmonton Oilers. They're also taking the depth category up front. Let's look at some firepower for the Edmonton Oilers on defense. I wrote down Klefbom, Nurse, and Russell. All these guys can produce points. They're all on separate defensive pairings too. It's a good balance for them to have. Compared to the Chicago Blackhawks, I have two guys written down. Of course, Duncan Keith. He's been doing it his whole career. He's getting older, maybe a bit slower, but he still has the skill. Look for him to produce points alongside Adam Boqvist on the top defensive pairing. Adam Boqvist is a young kid, and he is going to be the future of the Chicago Blackhawks on the blue line. Now looking into some depth on the blue line for the Edmonton Oilers, you have Adam Larson. He's playing with Klefbom. He's more of a banger, not so much of a point guy, but he can create some space for Klefbom to move the puck up the ice for the big boys, along with Ethan Bear on the second line and then Matt Benning on the third line. Pairing defensive-minded guys, but hopefully they can open the ice for some offense and keep the puck out of their zone. And then the depth with the Chicago Blackhawks, it's a lot better than I thought. With Calvin DeHaan, Connor Murphy, Oli Mata, and I don't know who Koek is. I hope I pronounced that right. If not, I'm sorry. But here, again, with depth, I'm actually giving it to the Edmonton Oilers. This is wild. I didn't expect to give so many categories to the Edmonton Oilers, but I think they are up and coming and they are going to look pretty good. Moving on to the goalie category, it's Mike Smith and Koskinen in Edmonton. Mike Smith, I think he deserves the crease. He's a gamer. He's going to get the start. It's going to be a tough one for him, But like I said, he's been there before. Give him the crease, and he's going to go up against Corey Crawford. Corey Crawford we haven't seen much of lately, but Corey Crawford's a stud. He's been there before. He's a winner, and he knows what to do in these situations. And of course, he's backed up by Malcolm Subban, who came over from the Vegas Golden Knights in the Robin Leonard trade. I'm going to give the goalie category to Corey Crawford and the Chicago Blackhawks. I think that Corey Crawford knows what he's capable of, whether he's injured or not. He's come back and he's going to produce. In the end, I think the Edmonton Oilers are going to win this series in 4 games, 3-1. Too much firepower in the Edmonton Oilers front for the Chicago Blackhawks to handle. This is going to be a great series to watch, probably one of my favorite ones going to watch, and I will be tuning in. Thank you for tuning in to this episode, and I will talk to you soon.